Don't make this mistake in the early game in Donkey Kong Bananza. 5 Bananium Gems convert into 1 skill point, and you don't want to waste skill points learning the wrong skills or accidentally upgrading the wrong skills at the wrong times, because you'll only have a certain amount of skill points to use during the game. In this video, I'll be showing you what skills you should focus on right at the start, and if you happen to disagree, you can comment down below why and put your own suggestion. Also, if you're watching this while you already invested a ton of skill points, don't worry, you can come back to Sublayer 101 once you're done and respec them by talking to the Elder. So let's go over the skills, show you the cost, and if they're actually worth the investment. Now let's first start off with how to even open up your skill points. You can do this at any point of the game by just pressing the D-pad up button on your Pro Controller or on your Joy-Con, and it'll bring you over to this entire screen. Now for this video, I've blurred out all the Bananza forms because we'll be doing that in another one. If you guys really enjoy this one, we'll be focusing on the core skills Donkey Kong can learn. Now the first skill that we're going to be talking about is going to be health. Of course, health is going to be important for increasing the maximum hearts that Donkey Kong needs. And in order to max out all the hearts, you can upgrade all the way up here, which will cost this amount of skill points right over here, which is a total of 24 skill points in order to get a total of 10 hearts and bring your health up to level 7. Now the cool thing about having 10 hearts is that it keeps you alive for much longer. It's a lot of survivability, and on top of that, you can rest at a getaway, and if you have enough getaways unlocked, you get a total bonus of 15 hearts. So as you can see right over here, I'm just going to hit the rest, and you can see because I have enough getaways unlocked, I got 5 extra bonus hearts, bringing Donkey Kong's health to a total of 15 hearts, which is kind of nice. Now, like I mentioned, this is going to cost you 24 skill points, which actually converts into 120 Bananium Gems in order to pull this off. But health is definitely important if you find yourself getting injured often in the game. This is definitely a skill that you should invest in over time in the game, as increasing hearts is important as some enemies start to hit a lot harder as you proceed deeper and deeper into the game, or even if you are fighting bosses. Next, let's talk about the apple juice skill. Now, apple juice as an item is extremely important because if you ever find yourself in a situation where your character completely loses all their hearts, the apple juice will automatically kick in, bringing Donkey Kong's health all the way back up to where it was, and this does not include the bonus hearts, just your regular hearts that you have in the game. So these are actually like a lifesaver for you. Just to level it up once to get 2 of them is going to initially cost 3 points, then if you want another one is going to cost 4 points, then 5 skill points, and then another 5 skill points. So for the total of apple juices, it's going to cost you 17 skill points or 85 Bananium Gems, which is a lot. It's more than the Bananium Gems that even exist in the first lagoon layer in the game. However, I don't think you need more than 2 personally to survive in this game unless you're having a really hard time. Don't fully invest into apple juice. It's not worth your time, but they definitely come as a lifesaver, and you're already given default 1 to use in the game. So depending on if you die a lot in this game or you struggle to stay alive, that is the only excuse for you to really upgrade this and dump a lot. The next skill that we're going to be looking at is melon juice. Now, what melon juice does exactly is bypass the banana meter you need in order to transform into your Bananza form, which means you don't have to collect enough gold, and if your bar is not full enough, if you have 1 melon juice in your inventory, you just press the Y, bang on your chest, and it'll use the juice, it'll show up, and Donkey Kong will transform. Now the melon juice skill purpose is just to exist to increase the amount of these that you carry. In order to upgrade all the way, you're going to need 12 skill points. This is going to bring your carrying amount of the melon juices all the way up to 5, and the total Bananium Gems you need to pull this off is 60. So in a scenario where we're using it right now, let's say I'm in this giant layer in the hilltop layer, right? And I'm just gonna run across. So let's say I activate my zebra Bananza form and I just go, right? I'm just running, I'm running. And if you notice my Banergy bar is not filling up right now because I don't have gold on me right now. I'm just running. And what if I happen to run out and I don't get to the end of my objective or where I need to go and time's running out? This is just a scenario where this could happen. And then all of a sudden, oh no, we're out of the Banergy form. I have no coins. But if you bang on Donkey Kong's chest just like this, you'll see the juice activate. That little icon shows up on screen, and I can continue sticking to my form and just keep going. However, you are going to transform out of your form for a little bit just to activate that juice. So just keep that in mind. I don't suggest prioritizing leveling this up all the way, as I think it is a waste of skill points in the early game to do that. Now, one of the easiest skills to get is the subscriber skill, which all it takes is 1 skill point. You just hit the subscribe button, you turn on notifications, and you're a subscriber. Like what I did there? All right, let's get back to the real skills. The next skill is going to be Bananza. Now, this one by far is probably the most important skill in the entire game, as this is called Donkey Kong Bananza, and Bananzas mean you get to transform, and this allows you to stay in a Bananza form for a percentage longer than usual. Now, naturally, when you enter Bananza form, this is how long you're going to be in. Bananza level 1 is going to allow you to last 30% longer. Bananza level 2 is going to be 70% longer. Bananza level 3 means Bananzas will now last twice as long. When you upgrade to Bananza level 4, Bananzas then will last 130% longer. Bananza skill should be one of the highest priorities you have when it comes to upgrading skills, because it lets you last in this form longer, and various Bananza forms are going to be used for various different things. Having Kong Bananza is going to allow you to punch through enemies with no problem, as well as farming. If you watched our previous video about doing a treasure chest collectible farm, Kong Bananza is very important for that. So having him in that form long is really good, and it applies for all the other forms in the game. I mean, if you're ostrich, you're going to be flying more often, and if you're a zebra, you're going to be running more often, and the other two we'll talk about in another video. Remember that you just need a total of 10 skill points in order to max this out, and that is only going to cost you 50 Bananza gems, which is a really reasonable price as well. So definitely prioritize this. Now, the next skill is going to be Drumbeat, and I personally think this is a complete waste of skill points in order to pull this off. If you want to max this completely out all the way, it's going to cost you a total of 6 skill points, which means you have to invest 30 Bananza gems, but I really suggest that you don't do that at all. I don't see the purpose. You never really need to use this. But for comparison, let me just show you exactly what it's like. So if you want to do it without any skill points first invested in it, this is how fast it takes. And then we can compare this to upgrading to level 1. There we go. Then we can go to level 2 over here just to show you. That's level 2, which is decently faster. And then this is what level 3 looks like. Here's a comparison of all of them on the screen, back to back to back, so you just have an idea of what exactly it does. This is great if you want to enter your Bananza form extremely fast, but like I said, there's really no purpose in doing that, as you could just walk away for a second if there's an enemy attacking you and just power up on the side real quick. But it is instantly fast though, it's ASAP. So if you have skill points to spare, then go ahead. But otherwise, do not put priority on this at all, as I didn't even use it the entire game. The next skill we're going to look at is Punch Power, which is going to reduce the number of punches needed to smash through terrain. And as you increase the skill point, it's going to deal with terrains that have higher ratings. So make sure you check out the terrain that you're in. And right now, Donkey Kong has no upgrades for the skill. So this is just the base, right? So Donkey Kong can power through these 2 strength terrains. This is what level 1 strength pretty much does. It's not too good, but when we get Punch Power level 1 just like this, now we should have a much easier time, as you can see, going through this level 2 terrain. So what you want to keep in mind specifically for this skill is, as you are going through the multiple sub layers in this game, to only upgrade as you are needed to get those upgrades for Punch Power. There's no point in upgrading the Punch Power level 2 if you're not on a terrain strength level 3, because it doesn't serve any real purpose, if that makes sense. Now, the first one costed 2 skill points. The next level costed 3, followed by 4, and then finally by 5, which brings the total amount of skill points needed to max out Punch Power at 14 skill points. This means that you're going to need a total of 70 Bananza gems in order to fully maximize this out. It's not bad to invest in, it just depends on where you are currently in the game, so you just need to pay attention to the sub-layer you're in for this upgrade. Also, having the Punch Power leveled up to match the terrain that the enemies are surrounded in is going to be a lot helpful, because if you don't have enough strength, it's going to take a while to break apart these enemies. But when you have the Punch Power, you can get through enemies within an area a lot more easier So keep that in mind because enemies like these surround themselves with the material and the terrain of the area. Next, let's talk about the skill called Better Collecting. By default, here is a piece of gold on the floor, and here is where I am with Donkey Kong. As you can see from this range, I can't even reach that gold nugget. So in order to get this started, let's go ahead and increase it by 1 point, which will bring it up to 50%. Does that make a difference? Doesn't grab the gold yet, but it has extended the range. Now, if you spend another 2 skill points, it brings it up to 80%. Let's see if we can grab it there. Not yet. Now let's go again to level 3, which is 100%, and see if it hits that gold. Not yet. So 100% at this range is too far. So Better Collecting overall costs you 6 skill points, which is a total of 30 Bananza gems. And the use case scenario is really just for collecting gold. So when you smash down, you start breaking through areas, you want to hand slap naturally in the game. However, based on that test we did before, it seems that the 100% range isn't that insane. As you can see, I'm like right next to these, and it barely gives you extra distance. So just running over to it with the base hand slap is pretty much all you need. As while testing this, it doesn't seem that it does that much of a difference. But let me know what you think, if hand slap is actually worth it. I personally don't think it's as good as it's hyped up to be. The next skill we're going to be taking a look at is Better Sonar, which has 3 upgrades or 3 level ups in total. Now, naturally, I have a fossil in front of me, and if I slap the ground, it functions as a sonar. So here it is in front of me. Now, if I back up, does it still read? Okay, it reads about there. But once I reach this point, it stops reading. So that's as far as the distance is from the fossil. And if you're curious where the fossil is, it's sitting right over here. So I left that just intact for this experiment, just so you guys can see if it's really worth it or not. All right, next, what I'm going to do is back up to the point where it's no longer readable. So about here. Let's get rid of this enemy real quick. So about here, you no longer can read it. And then we're going to upgrade the first level, which costs 2 skill points, right? So at this point, we should be able to read it. There we go. Pretty cool. We back up a little bit more. Still readable. So the sonar range definitely is very noticeable. Better than the hand slapping for the gold. Still can be read from this distance. I'm getting pretty far from it too. Still being read. Still can see it. Wow, that is actually a major increase on distance. I'm kind of surprised, actually. So about here, we're not getting the highlight anymore. All right, so let's upgrade to the next level, which costs 3 skill points. And we can see, wow, that is really, this actually might be worth it. I actually never really used this during my playthrough, but the fact that it could really read this far is crazy. Yeah, if I back up too much, I'm going in the water now. So we got to find a further spot to test this out. I did not think it was going to be that powerful. Okay, it could still be right over there. So it's still rainbowing there. Is it rainbowing here? Yep, still rainbowing. Right there. So we get a little further back, and that's the range now. It doesn't pick up the fossil. So let's upgrade again to the final level and see exactly how far that goes. So now it's 160%. We can see that the rainbow lights up from here. Let's go further back. This is crazy. There's no way it works, right? Rainbow works from there. Okay, so it looks like this is the max distance in order for something to show up as a fossil. So here we go. If you think this is worth it, it's going to cost you a total of 9 skill points, aka 45 Bananza gems. I'm really far from this fossil. Like, I'm all the way back here. The fossil's there, so it's hidden behind a wall. You're definitely going to be able to see it, which is kind of crazy because you can see that rainbow light up, meaning the range is pretty big. My personal opinion on this is if you watch the video that we posted about the 100% trick to complete, you'll know that because we get to mark up where exactly these fossils are on the map, that we don't really need the sonar because it's already marked for us on the map. Therefore, we just have to put the little highlight and we can see it from any distance away. So personally, unless you don't care about collecting treasure maps in order to find fossils and you want to do it as a mystery hunt, there is no purpose. Otherwise, you could just use the treasure chest and just find them and mark them on your map, or just head towards them by pressing L1 to see where they are. It's a lot easier in my opinion. So sonar, probably not my personal upgrade, but that's totally up to you. The next skill I want to talk about is going to be Charge Slap, which is going to cost you 2 skill points, which is a total of 10 Bananza gems, and it's a skill that doesn't level up as it has just 1 circle. But I was actually curious about this specific spot since these spikes are technically like terrain, so I was wondering what happens if you just, you know, hold R and slap. So this is what it looks like normally when you just hold R and slap around it. Nothing really because the skill's not enabled. But if we do enable Charge Slap, will this make the spikes fly? Oh, it does not make the spikes fly. It doesn't make the spikes fly. Yeah, as you can see, you have to be in an actual scenario where you actually have the chunks around you to slap it. Otherwise, it really doesn't serve too much of a purpose, as you can see. So I'm smacking these rocks again, breaking up some terrain. That's pretty much what it does. So if you see that piece of terrain in there, slap, and then it'll just go. So I got a bunch of chunks right here. I'm going to hold my R to do the slap, and it kind of just shoots the rocks, I guess, in a further direction. There's my chunks. Here's holding the R button. We slap, and these should slam down, doing damage around you. So if you see a use case scenario for this, I guess you can get it. Otherwise, if there's no real enemies around, I don't see it as a purpose, as you can just punch it and break it yourself. Now, this next skill is going to be a spin jump, which costs 2 skill points, which is a total of 10 Banandium gems. Now, normally when Donkey Kong spins, if you just rotate the left joystick, he just does a little spin and Pauline dances on top of him in whatever outfit she's wearing. If you pick up a piece of terrain and then spin, he's going to actually legitimately spin. If you do that, look at that, right? And if you hit jump while doing that, nothing happens, right? So basically what this does is it allows you to jump, pretty much. So if I do this now, hit A, he's going to jump up in the air. So the use case scenario would be for maybe flying enemies. Normally, you'd have to throw it at them like that. But if I pick this up, and then I do my little spin, boom! You can take out flying enemies like that. So I guess that's the use case scenario. So if you want to get 10 Bananium gems to get that, pretty sure you can come up with interesting stuff. Maybe you can actually get across certain areas or jump gaps using that. Actually, let's find out. Can we, how far can we go for spinning? Let's see. Spin, 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 spin. A. So I guess you get a little bit of height, maybe. Do a surf turf. There's some tech behind that. Maybe you guys can actually figure that out. So maybe a spin into a surf turf. Something like that. The next skill we'll be going over is jump shot, but before I get this specific one, I just want to show you exactly the purpose of this. So normally when you're jumping in this game or trying to get to a further terrain, all you have to do is press ZR to pick up a piece of terrain, double click A, he'll throw it down, and then you land in the next spot. But if you want to go further with your jump, all you have to do is grab ZR for a piece of terrain, double jump with A, and then LZ to go further. That's pretty much the normal jump method. Now, if you pay attention to how the floor looks when you throw it, it just smashes on the ground, and that's pretty much it. So nothing crazy on impact. Now, if you happen to get this skill, which is jump shot, it's going to cost you 1 skill point, which is pretty good. It's actually just 5 Bananium gems, and you learn something new. Here's what's going to happen when you double jump. You throw it on the ground, and it actually like does impact damage, just like that. So it does damage on the enemy. So if you double jump over the enemy like that, you get a nice aerial slam on them, which is pretty nice. It doesn't affect your double jump at all either. So if you pick this up and you want to get across somewhere, boom, boom, it still does the exact same thing. All you do is just do damage to enemies if you land and time your double jump. So if you want to aerial attack, this is the best way to do it, and it's really cheap, so I do suggest you go ahead and grab it. The next skill we'll be going over is better turf surfing, which honestly I think is one of the best ones that you can also get in the early game with your skill points for Donkey Kong. It costs 3 total skill points, which is 15 Banandium gems. And I'm going to show you exactly what happens before I upgrade. So let's grab a piece of ice here. We got lava in front of us, and let's just turf surf. So here we go. See how far we can go, and it's done. And then I got burned. All right, so you can kind of see how far we actually got over here. And now I'm going to head back up here. Then I'm going to buy the skill so you get an idea of how long we actually last by getting better turf surfing. Okay, here's a comparison of me with the turf surf now with this. So it basically gets you a little bit further. The first one was pretty much here, and I got a little more distance here. So it dissolved a little bit later in the lava, which is a pretty good example. I think this is one of probably the best sub layers to use this on. Pretty much we could just have this last for a bit here, and you could speed up, and I think it could carry you all the way across the map almost before it completely dissolves, right? That's pretty far. We literally went all the way from up here, and that lasted me a while, and that's not even on lava. Lava dissolves way faster, but land is pretty good. And I'm pretty sure it may pair with even the water one, so you could probably combo that, but this is not too bad for 15 Bananium gems in order to spin across. It helps you in other sub layers as well. Oh yeah, you can even get through mud with this. Dude, this is genius. Let's talk about the skill called Surf Surf, which basically enhances your turf surfing skills so you could skim over bodies of water. And this one costs 4 skill points, and 4 skill points converts into 20 Bananium gems. That's a lot just for being able to surf on water. So I kind of wanted to do an experiment here to kind of prove, is this really worth it or not? So here's a regular piece of a chunk, and if you try to surf on the water, it's not gonna really work. It's just gonna break down and that's it, right? But can Donkey Kong get across this water pretty quick? Well, let's find out. Here we go. So we're just gonna do a ZL with a press of A just to quickly hop across the water, and I'm across the water just like that. No issues, no problems. Now here's what's even crazier. Once you arrive in the snow area, you're going to get the form Zebra Bonanza, right? And here's how Zebra Bonanza works. It runs across the water. So you get this for free without having to waste any Bananium gems. So you saw how fast we can walk across the water now with the Zebra. It's not too bad. It gets the job done. Now let's go ahead and grab Surf Surf and see exactly, is this really as fast as it is? And honestly, you can make the judgment for yourself, but I see no need to invest something into the water part, as you can only get across on stages that have water, and not every stage contains water. Lagoon layer has it, the resort layer has it, and if you bump into any other ones, it's probably a very small area. So definitely not worth the 20 Bananium gems in my opinion. But let me know what you think. Now that you know all about the skills, let me know which ones you'll be investing into. Hit that subscribe button, notifications, and check out this video right over here on your screen.